Did you know that the opening scene of The Railway Woman was actually inspired by a scene from the 2013 Doctor Who biographical drama An Adventure in Space and Time, in a scene where Doctor Who creator Sydney Newman is reading the script for The Daleks for the first time, intercut with the assassination of President Kennedy. The idea of the characters doing pieces to camera was actually inspired by Michael Schneer mockumentaries such as the US version of The Office and Parks and Recreation. The characters of Peter, Danny, and Charlie were all originally meant to be played by different actors who could not commit to this production for various reasons. Peter was originally meant to be played by Gene Fode, Danny was originally meant to be played by Luca Mazzella, and Charlie was originally meant to be played by Daniel Grice. Harry Walters, who plays Charlie, might be familiar to TFL Creative Media audiences, as he has appeared in such productions as A Clear Signal and Marvel's Brighton, but is probably best known as the voice of Johnny, aka 222 Squadron, in the historical dark comedy Locomotives of British Railways Brighton. Charlie Sharp, who plays Danny, may also be familiar to TFL Creative Media audiences, as he has appeared in such productions as Primeval Young Blood and Relight My Spark, but he is probably best known as the voice of Oliver in the historical dark comedy Locomotives of British Railways Brighton. The character of Peter, played by Kevin Cherry, was originally going to be named Neville. However, during the writing process of The Railway Woman, Peter Weeks, my grandfather, unfortunately passed away, and so the character was named in honour of his memory. Each piece of music in the original soundtrack, composed by Rupert Cole, each has its own unique name. The piece of music that plays over the title is called Alice's Melody. During pre-production, this shot was referred to as the Wes Anderson shot, so named because famous director Wes Anderson often has these wide static shots which have often been referred to as his director's signature. The colours of Alice's costume is actually more symbolic than you realise, as the character wears red Doc Martens, a jacket and shirt in a variety of blues, and a yellow hairband. These are actually the official colours of autism awareness. During the course of the film, the character has a variety of different badges between costume changes. The badges on this costume have 2 button badges and 2 pin badges. The 2 button badges have the autistic awareness ribbon on it, and the other has the bisexual colours and a speech mark that reads Bisexual Badass, a reference to the fact that Alice is bisexual. The 2 pin badges are of a Power Rangers lightning bolt, a reference to the fact that the character and the actor who plays her, Summer Clark Graham, are both fans of Power Rangers, and the other is the logo of the famous Tychlyn Railway in Wales. Peter wears a yellow handkerchief scarf which matches the same colour of Alice's hairband, a visual indicator that Peter is on Alice's team. To get into character to play Alice, I gave Summer Clark Graham a playlist of music which the character would listen to, which includes many 90s songs by such artists as Blur and Green Day, but also includes a variety of Power Rangers themes. On that note, Alice's favourite Power Rangers season is Power Rangers Dino Thunder, and Summer Clark Graham's favourite Power Rangers season is Jungle Fury. At the start of the first flashback, Alice mentions that she was playing One Woman Army by Porcelain Black because she actually thought she was a one-woman army and can do anything. This references the lyrics of the song. I'm on the battlefield like oh my god, knocking soldiers down like House of Cards, I'm a one-woman army. The book that Peter is reading in this shot is actually a genuine 1935 London and North Eastern Railway rulebook. Throughout the course of the film, Charlie carries a cigarette behind his ear, which is ironic considering that Harry Walters, who plays him, is actually a non-smoker. The selection of badges that Alice wears on her overalls in this scene include a button badge of Hedwig, the owl from the Harry Potter films, a purple poppy pin badge, well that's a tongue twister, a button badge that says #ComingOutPod on it, a pin badge of the Snowdon Mountain Railway logo, which is actually the same pin badge that a member of staff at the Snowdon Mountain Railway gave to me when I visited the railway for the first time during the Welsh Mountain Heritage Railway Light Engine Narrow Gauge Tour vlog back in 2019. And finally, the 2 button badges at the bottom respectively have a pair of red lips and the phrase, "Shh, spoilers on it," which is the famous catchphrase of the character of River's song from the popular science fiction series Doctor Who, and the other simply has a pair of hands doing some sparky magic. In the second flashback, the location for the party was the actual Airbnb that the majority of cast and crew stayed in during production. We can see a few members of the crew of the Railway Woman cameo as party guests, including Arthur Crisp, who was the gaffer, Jessica Burgess, who was the dip and colorist, and Sophie Petch, who documented behind the scenes. The photo that Peter hands Alice of him in his younger days features Lottie Morris, the first AD, myself, the writer and director, Maeve Coffey, the producer, and Angus Butcher, the cinematographer, who is actually meant to be the stand-in for a younger Peter. The line uttered by Alice, "Most people tend to forget about my sensitivity," which is a reference to the fact that she has sensory issues, just like many autistic individuals. The piece of music that plays during the flashback scenes at night is called "The Night It Happened." The cap that Alice wears during this scene actually belongs to a member of the crew, Courtney Forder, who is a volunteer on the Kent and East Sussex Railway. During pre-production, this shot was referred to as the Civil War shot, because it was inspired by this scene of Wanda Maximoff reacting to a building explosion in the 2016 Marvel Studios movie Captain America Civil War. The next shot, where we transition back to the present day, was referred to in pre-production as the Toy Story 2 shot, as it was inspired by this reaction shot of Woody listening to the When Somebody Loved Me story by Jessie in the 1999 Pixar movie Toy Story 2. The name of the music number is called Our Railway Woman. The music number itself was actually inspired by a variety of different television musical specials, including Nothing Suits Me Like a Suit from How I Met Your Mother, and Put a Bit of Love in Your Heart from The Flash. The instrumental part of the music number during when Alice goes in and out of the office is actually the same arrangement as the beginning of the Thomas the Tank Engine theme composed by Mike O'Donnell and Junior Campbell. The final shot of the music number ends on a freeze frame and a fade to black. This was actually inspired by the final shot of the 1985 John Hughes movie The Breakfast Club. Chris Eden Green, the YouTuber who is best known for presenting the magazine-style review series on steam locomotives, Steam Locos in Profile, contributed a significant part to the fundraising campaign of the Railway Woman and was actually present on set during the filming of the Railway Woman. The original plan in the edit was to have the song Hello Diesel, Goodbye Steam by Robert Cox play over the credits, which at the time seemed ideal considering part of the lyrics of the song goes, "The steam building up in the country of the Kent and Sussex fields." But ultimately, this music choice was dropped due to potential copyright issues. The jacket on the back of Alice's door is actually the same jacket worn by me as the character of Daniel Temple in the 2017 fan film Primeval Youngblood. At the top of the stack of comics in this shot is actually the first volume of the Marvel comic Miss Marvel, which actually recently featured in a reaction video of the teaser trailer to the upcoming Miss Marvel Disney Plus series. There is also a selection of posters in Alice's room, including a poster of Jodie Whittaker's 13th Doctor, and the helmet of the main character from the Disney Plus Star Wars series, The Mandalorian. But there are also some other posters of short films that I've personally worked on. One of them is for the short film Terminus, which was the very first short film I was involved with during my first year of uni, and the filming of that was actually documented in the March 2019 TFL vlog. There is also a couple of posters for two TFL Creative Media original short films, including 2017's A Clear Signal and 2019's Interpretation. On the shelf is a collection of replica Harry Potter wands by Noble, a Lego Night Bus. There is also a Black Series replica of a prototype Boba Fett helmet, which was actually the subject of the very first TFL Creative Media unboxing video. And at the bottom of the shelf there is a selection of pop figures from franchises such as Star Wars, Marvel, and the Wizarding World. There is also a selection of other random knickknacks that were donated to this set by Yasmin Wilson, which makes sense because the location of the set was actually my flat that I lived in Bognor Regis during my final year at university, and Yasmin Wilson was my flatmate. Perhaps my favourite Easter egg of them all is this pocket watch sitting on Alice's bedside table. This is actually the same pocket watch that featured in the Creating My Own Doctor Who costume video back on November 23rd, 2021, which is actually a cheeky bit of foresight on my part because that film wasn't made and didn't come out until months after The Railway Woman wrapped up filming. The physical gesture that Alice does with her hands in this shot is actually referred to as stimming, which is a common trait amongst many autistic individuals. And finally, the piece of music that plays in the final shot of the film and over the credits is called Removing the Mask, which is a reference to what Alice is doing in the final scene of the film, as it's tragically a commonality with many autistic girls on the spectrum who tend to hide their autism at a very young age to avoid scrutiny and harassment because they are not diagnosed until much later in life. And that was all of the most interesting fun facts and Easter eggs that I picked out from TFL Creative Media's latest short film, The Railway Woman. And thank you all for watching. Did you enjoy this video? And what was your favourite Easter egg or fun fact from The Railway Woman? Sound off in the comments below. And in the meantime, please don't forget to like and subscribe.